And I'll tell you guys since we're all friends. Every character I write has a piece of me in them. Hi, I'm Lee Bardugo. You're listening to the GrishaCast.
Welcome to GrishaCast, episode 107. In this episode, we will continue breaking down the stories from the book The Lives of Saints. This is your host, Eric.
And I'm Terry. From Nashville, Tennessee, this is your podcast for all things Grishaverse.
A world created by one of my very favorite Aries in the world, but not the only, Lee Bardugo! Moi ça vient, casters.
Hello.
So, let's get into some listener cities.
Well, okay then. First, we have Plano, Texas.
Ooh, and next we're moving on to Glen Iris, Australia.
Woo-hoo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yep, Eric's coming to you from the Fold, and Terry from Ketterdam. Sorry.
And a bookshelf combines our world.
That is, it's our state line. It divides our provinces.
Yes.
Aw.
Oh.
Eric Land and Terry Land. Ooh, what would those be like?
Oh,
It'd be so fun. I think so.
Okay.
Come on. It'd be everything that you would love all in one place.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Do I get the taxes?
You get everything. It's your land. You do whatever you want.
Well, then I'm in.
Exactly. See? I mean, I would have to redecorate a little bit.
Yes.
The Fold is, however, it is gorgeous. I do think it's beautiful, but a little dark sometimes. I would probably need a good flashlight. And however, I know that if I brought one, that would kill me. So I would have to do a little redecorating.
Yeah,
But
you like to rest a lot, and you
I
can't really
do.
do that in the Fold.
If I'm
So-
absolutely quiet, maybe if I got in a sleeping bag and just didn't move or never woke up.
Never woke up.
Sounds like I'm dead. Wow. That's really very happy, Eric.
not how
sounds
this
like
works.
sounds like a great life. Yeah. Just to pretty much just be asleep forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's not what I mean, peeps. Sorry. I do like my sleep, but
Yeah,
not so much
not-
that I don't ever want to wake up again.
Yeah, no.
I do enjoy waking up. However, yes, we are talking about our YouTube video that we just see, so it's funny just because this is the second time I see myself in the Fold.
Yes.
And hey, you gotta move around. So, how are you? What's up, girl?
I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have anything interesting to talk about, I don't think, which is, I don't know. I mean, work has been crazy, and then I come home and crash, and that's about it. Working on my school stuff. So, I was almost in an accident this morning.
Ooh, not good.
That was probably the most exciting thing that's happened all week.
Wow.
And exciting as in got your heart rate up and yeah.
Okay.
And that's How
Well-
about you?
Okay. Yeah. So I've been good. I was really excited about this weekend. This was a long week, just at work. It was just a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, kind of the same thing. I've been just one positive thing though is I expected that the time change was going to be really hard on me like normal. However, it was not. I don't know if you
Well,
remember.
that's good.
But last time we recorded,
Yes.
I said, I am so not looking forward to this happening.
And you said the next time I saw you, you were going to be grumpy.
Yeah, however, it really wasn't that bad for me this
Well,
time.
good.
First time in my entire life. That must mean I'm growing up.
Oh.
I'm a big kid now.
Also, the government is
Possibly change.
voting on stuff to make it permanent, so we don't have to keep changing back and forth, which would be great.
That's
I
what
don't
Chris
care
said.
really which one they choose. Just I don't like going back and forth.
Yeah,
I would like to stay at the time it is now
yeah.
all the time, but either way, I would just be happy with not
See,
changing the time all the time.
I'm weird. I would really I would prefer the other one. I do like it being dark. I think I just like that. I like cold weather. I love all that. However, I know that I am definitely alone on that one pretty much compared to everybody that I talk to on a regular basis because
You would still have your darker months.
yes, which is good. I
Mhm.
do, and I just like them. I don't know. I've always been that way. I've always loved like overcast days more than like sunny days. I felt like there was more energy in them. I don't know. I know it sounds weird, but I've always liked that. Ever since I was young, I've always thought like overcast day, and like I love overcast Thanksgivings. Mm, perfect.
That is very specific.
It is because if it's a sunny Thanksgiving, it feels so weird to me. It's just so off. I'm used to them being overcast, and I think they should mandate that. Make sure that Thanksgivings are always overcast. In Eric Land, in the
There you go.
fold, that's where it would happen.
Well, it would be overcast all the time. Very, very overcast.
It'd be a little bit more than overcast, yeah. A little pretty dark up in there. But anyways, yeah, I think I've been good. I'm excited we're going through this book. I think it's so fun just because, The Lives of Saints is an amazing book for me. What do you think so far since you're like your first read through? We're almost done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
What
we're towards the end here. It's interesting.
Was it what you expected or
I mean, yeah, it's about. I don't go as like nutty for like fairy tale type things that like
Right.
you do. So I mean, it's been interesting. Like it's a fun read.
yeah, it's an easy read too, definitely.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, for something to like, if you just want something to pick up real quickly and read a short story real fast and like set it down. And it's got some like neat little Easter eggs for those that love the Grishaverse.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, it's in the books. It's the book that like little kids. It's their fairy tales. The little books they would have in their
Oh, that's the next
in their
one.
rooms.
Yeah, so and that's the one thing that I guess I think I messed up on. We decided to read this one, but I think we should have read Language of Thorns first.
Yeah.
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 Just because there are things in here that I can't talk to you about because we haven't read Language of Thorns.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Language of Thorns is actually like that's the one supposedly that were the fairy tales of the Grishaverse.
Well, these are like the like.
This is their prayer stuff, I think. Kind of. That's what I think about it more,
It's more like biblical stories.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I absolutely agree. And what I do find interesting though is like that this would I just can't imagine reading these and being like, like I mean, do we even have a religion that we're like, I mean, this encompasses the Grishaverse doesn't really have like, I mean, it's
What?
well, like okay, so I think of this book, The Lives of Saints, as like out of all the texts, it's like more of a religious text in the Grishaverse because of the fact that it's connected to the saints and prayer.
Uh-huh.
So, I guess what I'm saying is like I mean like they like they've got churches and places to pray, but we don't really have a name. Like there isn't a name
Right.
for the religion.
Right.
Okay. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping me because I love that you're like, what? Yeah.
I thought maybe like I missed something. I just
Girl, it's me. It's me. Remember?
I know.
Every time you think, oh, he's going to make sense. Oh, don't give it to me. No. Mm-mm. Just be like, yes, ask that question because otherwise our poor listeners will be confused. Another great reason why Terry is an amazing host because she actually helps you understand me.
Oh, and I'm the one that like will just trail off on a sentence. I like will say half the sentence and then just like stop and look at you like you know what I mean. So
Oh, yeah.
like, no, that's not great.
Yeah.
But we take care of each other.
We do. Absolutely. So cool. Well, I'm glad to know that you thought The Lives of Saints was something like
Cool.
there. However, like I mean, like a normal novel, there's still like I mean, there are some of the last stories are the ones you most likely have been waiting for. So there is like the big conclusion coming. Anyways, okay. Well, I guess we should just go ahead and get started, shouldn't we?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's do it.
I made a decision.
You did. Oh, How is the tea? I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, it's good. I mean, I've had it before, but it's good.
Yes, that is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Interesting. You can actually really taste like little bits of like the chocolate. Like I
Yeah.
mean, like that's. I still don't know how they do that.
I don't know either, and I don't really want to know.
Yeah. I mean,
Because it says chocolate flavoring, vanilla flavoring, hazelnut flavoring. I don't want to know. You know, like sometimes it's just best to just let that go.
don't
and
ask
just-
questions.
Don't ask questions. Just put it in your mouth.
Whale.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The
I'm gonna.
tea.
Yeah. So other things that you put in your mouth without asking questions is another caramel tea. There's a caramel one. It's a butterscotch one that you got me for my birthday.
Yeah, the Tazo.
Yes, I
Yeah.
tried that one, and for those of you tea lovers out there, we know Lee Bardugo is. Tazo has some great, like, phenomenal flavors, but besides that, they've got like a special, like, they've got dessert ones. There's only like a couple of them, and if you can find them, they're worth getting because they actually legitimately taste like what it is. Like the one I can always find is the vanilla chocolate. It's some kind of macaron that we drink all the time. However, the butterscotch one, it's incredible. Like it tastes exactly like it. I have no clue how they made tea taste
What
like
was
butterscotch.
the dessert lemon one?
Lemon loaf. There's
That
a-
was. I saw that one
yeah.
the other day at Lebanon Kroger.
Oh, see, I'm not a lemon person. Like I'm not a big fan of lemon. So
Lemon desserts are okay.
so I let my friend who loves lemon at work. Her name is Ashley. She tried it and she loved it.
There you go. At least it's being appreciated.
Oh, all the
Appreciated.
you should. For those of you out there, this birthday present. Birthday was it birthday? I can't remember. Yeah, it was a present. Hey, we can't remember what we're giving presents for anymore. But I got it.
Because your birthday is at the same time we celebrate
Everything.
winter holiday. They get wrapped in the same
Every-
paper,
Mhm.
but you get an extra one
You're the
than
only-
everyone else because it's your birthday.
Well, you are the only one that does that, and thank you.
Because it's not fair.
Thank you. It's so sweet of you. So she got me this thing of all these different Tazo teas, and like it is like a collection, y'all. I mean, like a lot. It
It's
is
a
like
treasure trove.
it is. It's like
You go digging.
there are so many of them, and it's really cool. And some of the flavors are just so neat. I didn't know they made that many teas. I'm sure that. And you said you got it from Amazon, right?
Yep.
Wow. So
I think they have like bigger packages with like even more
more to choose from.
or just more of the same ones that are in there, but just, higher quantity.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. And people at work are all like, they're all fascinated because I brought in this cute little like metal tin and then I categorized it by color. So it's like in this cute little rainbow. And yep, I love it. And actually, that's why I'm not drinking. I have one blue left and I'm not drinking it because it
It'll
will mess
mess
up
up
my
the
whole rainbow. And blue is my favorite color. So I'm just going to like hold on to that. I do that with M&Ms
Just
too.
take the tea bag out and leave the wrapper.
You know what? You are brilliant. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. Lesson of the day.
Solving problems.
Mm-hmm. Solving world peace and crime, and all I got to do is take the tea bag out.
Yep.
Yep, and leave the tea bag in. Yeah. No. Take the tea bag. Yeah. Hey. Okay.
Okay.
A tea bag. Okay.
Yep.
So moving on to Lives of Saints.
Are we still doing that?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
I'm sure our listeners would appreciate it. We got somewhere along our storyline. So, first saint that we have this evening is Sankt Ilya in chains. So, real quickly, we have heard this story a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you probably kind of recognize it. So there's this recluse that lives in this town, and he like pretty much is just only seen when he needs to trade to get food, and any other time is scribbling in journals. And he likes to create things and really just keeps to himself. And the villagers just I don't know. They just don't really get to know him that well at all. Well, because he's just very quiet. They tend to think he's almost on the verge from like he started out like being very ambitious of an inventor, and now he's kind of like teetering on madness. However, one day, hark, he hears some kind of screaming going on. So he runs out to see what's going on, and there lies a boy that is dead, and his parents, and he has been pretty much like the way it's described, like he's pretty much almost cut in half, but not completely, by a plow or some kind of farming tool, I'm guessing. So, anyways, he ain't alive. He's a boy and he's dead. His parents are upset. And Ilya then decides that he's gonna do something. And what does he do? He brings this boy back to life. It the stitching, like the body comes back together. All of a sudden, like his eyes like aren't glassy and discolored, and he all of a sudden is like, "Hey,
What's
what
up?
up?" Exactly. I'm back. But the child's parents are like still looking at this child weird because they just like I guess they've gotten their head like, well, we know that you were just dead. However, but see, I don't think I'd feel that way. I don't know. These people are like really mean, I guess. They just look at it as like that just can't that's got to be a demon, I guess.
Yeah.
So, other villagers come and because they heard the ruckus, and they happen to just start going down this path of like jealousy and thinking like, well, why did Ilya help this like boy, and where was he when my great aunt Susu was over here?
Not
And
great Aunt Susu.
yeah, Aunt Susu, gotta help her. And yeah, so anyways, all these people are just so livid. But as you know, demons are drawn to water. No.
Well, we do now.
We do know that. However, I'm going to read the rest of this because it's a really good quote, but it's also going to kind of make more sense. So, anyways, the villagers, so they seized Ilya and clapped him in heavy chains, a collar for his neck, and fetters for his wrists and ankles. They dragged him to the bridge that overlooked the river, where the water foamed white around the jagged rocks, and they cast Ilya over the side. It is said his corpse emerged on a sandbank many miles south, perfectly preserved and guarded by a white stag, who stood vigil over the body for 3 full months. The child Ilya had dragged back from the next world wandered the village, asking for his mother and father, begging for a place to sleep. Every door was closed to him, and so he was left to the woods, where he can still be heard crying. Sankt Ilya is the patron saint of unlikely curses. End quote, end story. So, I'm sure you recognize that. However, let's take a look at that illustration. Yet again, we have seen this because I've made our producer and team have to like show it many times just because every time it's brought up, I want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool picture. However, it's neat just because it is the exact replica, the way it's described as it's told throughout the stories. Like when we first hear about it in Shadow and Bone, somewhere in the trilogy, when they're like, I can't remember what book it is. It might be the second or third, where they actually are they use the picture to figure out that they're going to look for the Firebird.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an actual, it looks exactly like it's described in the book, which is cool.
You can see all 3 amplifiers.
Yep. However, one thing that I have noticed is so in this story, it says they put him in the fetters and all that. His those chains are completely broken.
Yeah.
So apparently, this picture gives us a little bit of, I think, of a sneak peek into the fact that he survived that and the villagers didn't kill him like they thought he did.
And so the story plus the picture, I know you're Jewish,
Yes.
but who does that remind you of?
Oh, Moses?
No,
Oh, yeah. Jesus.
Jesus. It's very Jesus-ish because he can perform a resurrection, and he was
The way
like put to death and came back, and um so
his hands are held out like that. Like
so and in the picture he's got the Jesus pose. So I think his story was meant to kind of replicate Jesus.
Yeah. He also, like, I mean, he kind of looks like Jesus. Like, I mean, the face. I don't know what Jesus looks like. I mean, but he's maybe.
As white people portray Jesus,
Correct.
that's what
There you go,
it looks
girl.
like. Yes.
That is the correct way to say that. Absolutely. One thing that I do find that's really interesting, since we know that, like, the story of all this, like, I mean, so it's supposedly the 3 amplifiers.
Uh-huh.
However, we know that, like, also that the Firebird was not, like, do you think the Firebird was an actual amplifier, or do you think it was, because it was always the child or like a relative of it, like,
Yeah, I mean, looking at the picture, it's like, I mean, you would think that it would be an actual one.
yeah.
But didn't they say in the book that it was like a false amplifier, like what do I want to say? Like
A trick one?
yeah, kind of like a trick, like to get people to, or it was supposed to be the
Yeah.
Firebird and it never happened. There's something along those lines where they talk about why it
Yeah.
wasn't the Firebird.
I don't think we know for fact, though. I think it's all, like, I mean, it's all just kind of myth, just because, like, when you look at this picture, like, I mean, like, obviously all the amplifiers have that gold around them,
Mhm.
and that Firebird definitely does, which is kind of neat then to think back on. If you remember the story, I think you did, Vasilka in the beginning, the first Firebird. That was really cool. So it's a really neat picture, especially just because it has so much to do with this, like, the Grishaverse story in general. I do wonder about, like, the stag holding vigil for 3 months. I just find that interesting. Like,
Yeah.
why 3 months? Like, I was just trying to figure out if there was something I was missing there, but yeah, just kind of stood there, which is neat. However, I definitely do feel for this poor child that just, like,
Right.
came back from the dead and, like, nobody's happy. Like, I mean, that's the biggest trick of all.
Uh-huh.
And, he's just, yeah. See, that's not horrible. Okay.
So I have the Firebird was heavily featured with the stag and Ursula in Morisova's research. Due to this, the creature was believed by many to be Morisova's third amplifier, not understanding the true meaning of the symbol. This was later found out to be false, as Morisova's daughter, and by extension Mal, was the third amplifier by virtue of her resurrection. So the Firebird is supposed to be the heart and, what did it say? According to myth, the fire. I'm going to put it in sleep. It's believed by many to be the heart and soul of the Ravkan Empire.
Right.
So that's why it's featured in the illustration.
Okay.
And it was a false amplifier
Gotcha.
because people thought it was the amplifier.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at the picture and you're, like, trying to put the story together like Alina was, I mean, yeah, it looks like it.
The Lansoff line is believed to be descended from the Firebird.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, a lot of cool stuff. So, I mean, there is a reason that we look at that picture so often. Okay, so next, moral of the story. So, at this point, I'm just going to say, I think that if you live in the Grishaverse and you are special, have any gifts, have any powers,
Keep up to yourself.
have dreams, inspirations, goals, I would consider deeply becoming mute or just never voicing a single word about aspirations or dreams or any talents that you might have, because I don't even know what number saint we're at, but it doesn't turn out too well.
No. No, but saints get martyred. Like that's the
I know.
whole like. Remember when we talked about Alina and she's like, I don't want to be a saint.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
However, if you can hang on, the Grishaverse does get better. For those out there struggling in the Grishaverse and just really want to let out who they are, just hang on a little bit longer. It does get better.
Wait for Nikolai to come around.
Exactly. We promise.
He got you.
Exactly. And so do we here at GrishaCast.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're your parents now.
We are parents to the poor, like wandering Grisha that came back to life.
I can't train you for anything, but I'll support you.
We'll support. Absolutely. Yes, we will support you. We're here for you to listen to a podcast about the world that you. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to end up going in circles.
Yeah, we're going on a whole black hole on this.
So Grisha Order. So couple different things. I mean, obviously a healer, but also a durist, I believe.
Obviously fabricator, yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot.
Definitely Merzost.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I love that you brought that up. You brought that up last episode, right? About just thinking about Merzost, like, as like how, and because that is so true. Like, I mean, I was so looking at it just in black and white, thinking about the Grisha orders, but like I love that you brought that aspect in here.
Some of them go to the dark side.
Absolutely. And it's not even the dark side. Merzost is just it's not the small science. I think.
Just mean dark side as far as like it's like forbidden. It's not something that like it's not a positive thing to people. So
it's not a natural kind of magic like the small sciences. So Easter eggs and references. This is Ilya Mortsova.
Yeah.
So I mean, he
is the originator, and it's the Darkling's grandfather.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Bagra's daddy.
Yep.
And a descendant of Mal, everyone's favorite.
Yeah. So Mal and the Darkling are related.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everybody just loves Mal.
Keep it in the family.
Exactly. Okay. So yeah, that was a very important one to have in there.
Yeah.
I do like that she stayed true to the story and made sure that, I mean, like it really goes along with the story itself, like reading what you put in here with like how it's delivered in the books. And I think that's cool. So.
Yes.
Okay. So, our next one. I'm excited.
It is Sankta Ursula of the Waves.
See, I feel like whenever it's your turn, it's like story time.
I know you do get all like excited.
I get giddy.
That's all right.
It's okay. I'm gonna sit here.
All right.
I got my chocolate tea.
Make sure I have the book turned to the right page. All right. Sankta Ursula of the Waves. Ooh. Okay. Ursula was a princess that lived in northern Fjorda, and she loved praying to the saints. Apparently, that was considered unlawful because we're in Fjorda and everyone needs to be worshiping Gel. But she refused to do that. And so, like, her parents basically tried to drown her. To draw the demon out of her. Because clearly, like in every other story we've read, she's clearly possessed because she doesn't want to do what everyone else tells her to do. So no matter how hard they tried, she just wouldn't drown.
God.
She wasn't even struggling to breathe. So the Fjordans used that as proof that some unholy power was in play and that she was actually half fish.
So the fact that we couldn't kill you when we tried to kill you is...
You're half fish.
Okay.
Obviously, and I mean clearly, they need to cut her open to see. And but before they could cut her open, though, they begged her to repent, and she refused because she's not half fish. So, right when they put the knife to her throat, a huge wave rose up and consumed the city. The ocean tore the land apart and created the islands known as Kinstjert, or the Broken Heart. Ursula, of course, survived, but she had to live in a cave and like only ate the oysters and mussels that she collected in her little cave. She is the patron saint of those lost at sea. A chapel was built on her island, and sailors' wives that come and leave fish-shaped bread and pray for their lover's safe return. And so then I have this weird last quote. When they leave, some find bones or sea pearls in their pockets, though no one is sure if these are ill or good omens, end quote.
Oh.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
So after they go and leave their, like, goldfish-shaped bread, some find bones.
Little things in their pockets.
Sea pearls. Oh.
Yeah.
I really am intrigued about this, like, goldfish bread. Because I just keep on imagining, like, just, like the goldfish. So I just imagine it supersized. Loaves of bread because,
Yeah. Fish-shaped bread.
Of course, Ursula, because that makes so much sense. If you're a fish, you want bread because you've eaten it your whole life. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we just make it look like a fish, maybe they'll think it's a fish.
Yeah.
Sorry, I love some of this craziness. Just like,
So the next thing we have to do is look at the illustration.
Okay.
So we've got,
It's a lot going.
It's okay. So the picture is very kind of a little bit monochromatic. We've got this like seafoam green color throughout the whole thing. And Ursula kind of blends into it. Like you have to really look at it to find like Ursula's face. But she's holding a knife.
So that must
be the knife that they were going to cut her open with.
Yeah, that's
And so to me, you're seeing like all these like the waves and everything. It's so much brighter on the screen. But so like the waves that came and destroyed the city. So basically she's kind of like in all this chaos of the waves crashing the city.
You're right. Actually, on the screen, like
You can see it better.
the inner her hair looks like constellations.
Yeah.
Like so that image actually is from the ebook. Like just saying that.
Yeah.
It
looks much brighter on the
It does.
on the screen. So anyway, yep, that's it.
And it definitely looks like Fjorda. It's just like the red like towers and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't want to
I know. So in my reading, her story is more like in the language of thorns, and we'll get to that.
Correct. But we do her name Ursula, what's that remind? That automatically reminds me, of course, of The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
There's so many there's small little connections to it. It's not the story of The Little Mermaid, but in a weird, twisted way, it kind of could be the Grishaverse form of it. And come on, her name's Ursula. But it's neat. I do love the story a lot. And for those of you that have read The Language of Thorns, it's the best story at the very end. Oh, it's so great. I can't wait for Tara to read. I know. I say that about everything.
I know a little bit of it because I research.
Did you?
I research whenever I research my chapters.
Yeah.
So obviously it came up because.
Okay.
So
we do know. Do we think or Ursula was Grisha?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what kind though?
Tide maker.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Water coming through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I agree. Yeah. Cool. I guess we should stop there with that one. Is that where you need it?
Yeah. I'm looking at all the story stuff on my screen, but if we haven't gotten to Language of Thorns, we should probably save it for those people who have not.
Well, yeah, we should. I hope too much hasn't been spoiled for you.
I'm gonna read it regardless at some point anyway.
I know. There's just a really cool thing. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna. I should stop because you know me. I'll end up saying it. Okay, so
Or you're just going to keep hinting at it for an hour.
nope.
Um,
I'm gonna stop.
what's the next one? Moral
Moral.
of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Don't drown people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Disney does a lovely rendition of this story. Like, if you can switch magical worlds, maybe
Yeah.
go over to Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
yeah, and let's see.
Easter eggs.
Yeah, there are some, but like we can't really
Yeah.
you don't know them all. And also we just don't want to spoil
Nope.
it for people. But it's a neat story. We do have to remember, like, I mean, it's Fjerda though. I keep on forgetting sometimes how like I do like the fact that it says that like the wave made that Kensthurst, right? Like,
Well, okay. I mean, not necessarily like a big Easter egg, but what does that remind you of? The story of the wave crashing into the city.
okay, wait. A story of
Remember, we had not necessarily like an entire city, but we
Oh.
had at the Church
Rule
of
of
Commerce or whatever, the tide makers made like stuff come in and
yeah. And then also in Rule of Wolves.
and then Rule of Wolves with Leone and all
that
of that.
big wave.
So yeah, that's happened a few times.
Interesting.
Yes.
I like that. I do. Okay, so
Your turn.
okay. Well, moving on to our next saint. So this is Sankt Mattheus. That is what it says on the audiobook.
Oh, okay.
So, what was she the patron saint of? Was she the patron saint of anything?
I said it.
Oh, you did. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
I just forgot. Okay. Yeah, as I often do.
The patron saint of those lost at sea.
Yes, thank you for reminding me.
You're
Sorry.
welcome.
Okay, so onward to Sankt Mathias. So we're actually in Fjerda again. Because it is actually about a town that's right on the edge of the permafrost. And yes, if you look on your Grishaverse maps, that's in Fjerda. Okay, so in this little town, they're being terrorized by a beast that is just eating their children, people, everything, everybody. It's just, that's it. Everybody's being eaten alive. And it's just, they don't know whether it's a bear, a pack of wolves, a tiger from some random woman's menagerie. However, the elders of the community keep paying hunters to come and like kill it, but as often they just don't come back. Like, so they're not returning. So the townspeople decide to write to their king and say, hey, we need some help over here. So as the king does, he sends his best hunters, and along with his best hunters comes a giant man named Dag Ivar. D-A-G, by the way.
What's up, Dag?
Yeah, and Ivar, it sounds very Vikings.
Norse.
Yes, Norse. Thank you.
Welcome.
Which I've been watching so much of. I've been loving the Netflix new Viking show, and The Last Kingdom. I just finished that last night and was talking to Ursula about it.
Well, those are my people.
Yes, I know. I'm obsessed with your people, and especially Norse mythology. I think it's incredible. But that's a whole other show. So I will have to stay on track here. So Ivar and his men are like, this is gonna be a cinch. I mean, we're big to do hunters. So they go out. However, their first day is not fruitful. Second one's not, and like every time they think they're about to like find it, like, I mean, they don't. So Ivar laughs. He's like, ah, ha, 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 ha. So he thinks if the beast wants a challenge, Well, then let's just skip this mini challenge and go straight to the main stage of RuPaul's Drag Race Challenge. However, it is a challenge though. So he decides he's going to start adding some little tricks to it. So he thinks that this is funny. Him and his men dress up as women and go out into the forest, thinking that the beast might attack them because it's not going to recognize these huge men dressed up as women. They also decide to cover trees in pig's blood and even take some of the last kills that the beast has and try to lure it with that. However, none of this works. So unfortunately, Ivar gets a little butthurt because all the townspeople start to kind of make fun of him. They're like, look, you were sitting here, you're this big to do, and you haven't done anything. So he writes back to the king that, okay, you know what? These people actually are getting what they deserve, I think, because they are so rude to me. And I think can I come back? Because these people are so mean, and that's why they're being eaten alive, because it's just their curse. He doesn't hear anything. However, one day, I guess I don't know, Grishaverse FedEx shows up, and a man shows up. And this man happens to be Mattheus. Ugh, I'm so butchering that word. I just want to call... I know, I don't want to call him Matthias, because it's not Matthias, so I'm trying to make sure I don't say that. Mattheus. Okay, so he shows up. And... yeah, so... the townspeople are, I guess they're kind of happy, because the Wells Fargo wagon came to town and brought Mattheus. When the monk, and I'm going to read this part now because it's good. When the monk had been in the woods less than an hour, he spotted a gray shape moving between the trees. So first off, we've got him going in for the first time, and he's already finding something. So, this is good. Okay, let me continue. The wolf stalked closer, moving in circles, her yellow eyes like sullen moons in the gathering dark. Mattheus did not shy away. He had packed his bag with meat and saltfish, and he offered the wolf food from his own hand. Now, had he not been so holy, who knows what might have happened? But because he was a good man and beloved by the saints, the wolf approached and did not simply devour him where he stood. The creature sniffed the meat, cautious lest the food be poisoned, and at last ate from Mattheus's palm. They sat for a while, Mattheus feeding the wolf and talking of events from his journey. After a fair time had passed, he said, "You have eaten many people from the town, and they wish to hunt you to your death." "They may try," said the wolf. "I fear the wolf hunter will set fire to the woods to salve his pride." "What am I to do?" said the wolf. "My children must eat too." Mattheus had no answer, so he did what he could. Every day he went into the woods with prayers upon his lips and food in his hands, and every day he sat with the wolf and eventually her pups. The wolves were well fed, and so the killings stopped. The townspeople could till their fields, and the children played near the woods without fear. But the wolf hunter, Dag Ivar, could not walk down the street without people laughing at him. He ranted and raged, and when he could bear the snickers and jeers no longer, he strode to the center of the town square to denounce Mattheus. He claimed the holy man was in league with the beasts and had drawn them to the village in the first place. The good people of the village set the hem of the wolf hunter's fine velvet coat alight and chased Dag Ivar down the road and out of town. Mattheus continued to visit with the pups until they were grown wolves themselves. They came when he called, lay at his feet, thumped their tails when he told them stories. Their pups were tame in the very same way and took to guarding the doorways and hearths of the village their grandmother had once terrorized. These were the first dogs, and this is why Sankt Mattheus is the patron saint of those who love and care for animals. End quote. I know, long. But I had to read all that because I just thought it was so good. And I love it. First reaction, just letting you know, love that story. So before we discuss it, let's take a look at that illustration. And I love this picture. I adore it. There's a couple reasons, just because like I love night, but I love how the fact that like the moon behind him it's so vibrant, but the trees are like this red that pop out. It I love this picture. I love that the wolf, all the different like wolf's eyes are red, and yeah. What do you think of this picture, Tara?
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it like at first, just glance of it, it gives you kind of like a Red Riding Hood kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
There's red and there's a hood and there's a wolf, but I mean that obviously that's not
right.
But yeah, you got the menacing wolf
right
eating out of his palms, and he's like got his finger up like
See, that's what I was wondering. I was like, what's the finger for?
Don't you do it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Stop. Mm-hmm. So it's a pretty picture. I think. And I do really love how you can see like the like little evil eyes behind. Like I think that just kind of adds a little fun to it.
Yeah.
So moral of the story, dog people are the best. I'm a dog person. I love dogs. So, yeah, that's what I got from it.
Okay.
But also, one thing that we do have to realize, this is the first story in this entire book where the people actually haven't like killed our main or betrayed our main character.
Right.
Like it's actually like they were in favor of Mattheus.
Yeah.
Which is very weird.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Did you think of the moral of the story besides better than?
No, not really.
I just love dog people. I do, and I'm a dog person. Like, I mean, I love Lucy. My girl is so. Okay, so well, let's move on. Grisha order, Easter eggs, and references.
Okay, so I don't see any sort of like Grisha power in here,
No.
but I will say that because he's a monk, I would think that he was Rovkin, and that if you use the word monk, then he would have been like a member of the priest guard, which would have like merged into an animal, probably a wolf.
Gotcha.
That's where I'm going with that.
Okay.
So, but I don't know like what the powers are, unless we talk about some sort of like healer or like heart render, where you can slow the heartbeat down of the wolf to get it to be calm enough to whatever. So like possibly maybe that's the only thing I can think of.
Well, I think we're realizing actually through reading this is that not all saints are Grisha. Like, I mean, I think that was something that like when we're reading through it and before we read through this actual book, when we're reading the Grishaverse series, I think it's almost assumed kind of. So like, but I think reading through this now, we realize that, I mean, they're not all like Grisha. Like, I mean, like these saints like have just different kinds of power that aren't even on the spectrum of Grisha.
Yeah.
So.
But also with the whole wolf Fjerda thing, you know, where the Druskella choose their wolves. So that's kind of, this is like the start. Yeah.
I agree. I thought that was really cool when I finally made that connection to that this was Fjerda. And I was like, yeah, this has got to be like, I mean, you and I think the same thing, even though it's not mentioned in it. I think it has a lot to do with the Isnuf, which is the wolves that are
that tradition.
Yeah, I love it. And yeah, it's cute. I wish
I have it in my notes too that like it's the only one in which people actually
stood up,
believed the saint.
Yeah, he survived. Like he's like he survived, and like I mean, Dog Ivar like actually was the one that like I mean he literally got chased out of town. I mean they stood up for him, which is so weird for all these stories because it's the opposite. But anyways, I love people that love animals and care for animals, and I know you love animals too. So.
They love me.
Yeah.
They come out of nowhere. They hunt me down.
I found you.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm done with my saint. So how about we move on to story time for me?
So moving on to Sankt Dimitri.
Mm.
Dimitri was the son of a king, but he didn't want to be. He would have rather studied saints in scripture. When it was time for him to assume his responsibilities, he told his parents that he had no intentions whatsoever of marrying or taking the throne. The king had no other heirs, so they have no choice but try to convince him. But too bad, Dimitri refused literally every single time. So, because that's stuff that we do, we have to punish him.
Of course.
And lock him in a tower and deny him food until he agrees to take his responsibilities.
That's
that's what we do to people in this book. So every day the queen would go check on him, and every day he still said no, even when she offered him his favorite snacks.
Oh, if he's not getting his snacks.
And this he even says no to his snacks.
Gosh, and this is all because he just doesn't want to assume the throne,
right? He does not
right?
want to be king.
Wow.
Or any of the responsibilities. He doesn't want to get married or anything.
Well.
So this goes on for a year.
Oh.
Surely the servants have been sneaking him food because he's still alive. So they seal him in completely. So nobody can go in there. And he still refused. I guess from the other side of the door, he's like, I still don't want to. So the queen...
Goodness.
The queen wanted to see her son after, I don't know, a really long time. So the guards had to break down the sealed door. And when it finally opened, Dimitri's skeleton cheerfully waved to her and invited her to pray with him.
Oh.
She, of course, ran screaming from the tower. He is the patron saint of scholars and may be praying there still.
He's the Hi, Mom.
Hey, how's it going?
I've lost a little weight. I'm a size 3 now.
I went on a starvation diet. Yes. Speaking of starvation diet, let's look at the illustration.
This is what happens when you stop accepting your snack pack. And you just...
Okay, we'll get there. But okay, so the illustration is actually kind of cool because it's looking through a keyhole.
Yes.
And you see Dimitri's skeleton bent down in prayer.
Yep.
So it's very literal illustration of the story.
I do think it's really cool, the fact that it is looking through that keyhole. I just as if someone is looking through and seeing that. I love that. Is that a pen that he has, or a fet, it's
a quill?
Yeah, that he can write down, no fruit roll up for me today.
Day 356. My mother is still offering me snacks.
Gosh.
So yeah. So anyway.
Okay.
Order?
Well,
I don't think, I don't think he's a Grisha, because why would you do this to yourself if you're a Grisha? So either he's just not a Grisha or there's some Merzost going on, but there's something going on because he's alive.
He's the patron saint of scholars.
So there's obviously something that made him stay alive, but I don't know why he would, if he had powers to do something, why he wouldn't do something else. But unless he just had some sort of power to himself to I want to stay here and study forever.
Yeah, exactly. I get. Yeah, it makes no sense, to be honest. If he had a power, he could just leave. But he decides to just. That is definitely a reveal.
So if he were, it says he wanted to study the saints.
Okay.
So if that's what he was doing 24/7, studying Grisha texts, he could have been experimenting maybe as well.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Or maybe as the saints do, they do favor people, and maybe by the time they like got around to him, he had actually already turned into like a skeleton, and they're like, well, we can't bring you back to life because you don't have a body, so we'll just reanimate your skeleton. I don't know. Or maybe it's just a fun trick to say hi to mom and really scare her.
Maybe.
He's in a tower.
Yeah.
Like every time I hear the word tower, I think of Rapunzel. But this is a very
So there's like a story about the false prince Dimitri. So there's no Easter eggs like in the actual book.
Okay.
But like outside, like in real life, there's a false prince Dimitri. But it's like the opposite. I get Prince Dimitri, son of Ivan the Terrible.
Okay.
But it's the opposite, where the monk wanted to be a prince. And in this instance, the prince wants to be a monk.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Like, I mean, you've actually helped me see this in a different way. It is very interesting that it's like, I mean, the whole reason of him doing all this is just because he just wants to pray to the saints, right? Like, I mean,
he wants to study.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
the saints in scripture. Like, he's obsessed with saints in scripture.
So I think it's also showing that, like, I mean, if you are devout to the saints, like, I mean, miracles do happen, and I mean, yeah. But it is one of those weird ones where, like, I mean, maybe this was like thrown in there as like, we got to throw another like story in there to, help. Who doesn't want to see their son turned in like as a skeleton and then just wave?
Yeah.
I would scream. Like, I mean,
yeah.
that would be horrifying. Especially if it would be someone you knew. But yeah. Anyways, yeah. Bony.
So there we go.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, because there are no Easter eggs. Like,
Nope.
I mean, yeah, we're just done with that. Okay, well, bye, Sankt Dimitri. And what is exciting is like, yeah, we're almost done with this book, which is good, but I still I love this. Okay, so it's that very special time for GrishaCast news! Yay! So
I couldn't hear anything, so I have no idea if we're early or late. So
I couldn't hear anything either.
Sorry, producer Chris, but just kind of went for it when it felt right in my heart.
Yes, producer, we couldn't hear that at all, so we were just kind of watching it, and we were just like, maybe now. So
just go for it.
We'll see how that worked. Yeah, it was just kind of like Russian roulette. Okay. Unfortunately, Alex could not be with us. Alex is still in the field. However, we've got one piece of news that I think is really kind of cool. Well, actually, two. I got to. So one, there's an album being created, which is really cool, and the group is called the Bookish Songs Collective, and Kendra Dantes, who you definitely know if you've listened to our podcast, is a part of this fabulous group, and they're putting together an album that is Grishaverse related, all about it. It's about like some of our favorite characters, even some characters we wouldn't even think that they would write songs about, but there's, I believe, 8 artists, maybe more, that are contributing to this album, and it's for the 10th anniversary of the Shadow and Bone release, which is amazing. So that's really cool. And anyways, yeah, we will have more of that on here because we are going to luckily be able to. We're going to have some of them on to discuss the songs and what this whole thing is about. It sounds really exciting. I'm super stoked about it because we know Kendra, but there's the other artists I cannot wait to get to meet and hear what they've created. I just think it's amazing to, meet other people that are obsessed with the Grishaverse like us, but can actually, put a song together and sound good, like where I just talk into a mic, but I love it. I can't wait. So, anyways, more of that to come. And next, Lee Bardugo's birthday is around the corner. Just letting y'all know. So we got us. I know. We'll celebrate somehow by just maybe we'll have a little birthday here on the GrishaCast, a little birthday party.
I always remember it because it's a week before mine, and it's my oldest son's birthday, so can't forget her birthday.
That is why I said in the very beginning, one of my favorite Aries, but not, because I have two.
Oh,
Terry, of course.
we're pretty awesome people.
And Lee, and you guys are very much alike.
Oh, yes.
So, I mean,
Yes.
I love that. I mean,
Yeah, I know
Scary.
you guys didn't hear the off record part of our interview, but there were many times where her and I were like, "Hey, sister."
yes, they were very much like the same person.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of cool. And I was like, yeah, of course. My favorite author and then my best friend. Duh, you guys are going to be the same. Yeah.
I even had, she even said she had the shirt that I had on.
Yeah, you guys did the same. You guys were talking about the same place to shop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, we love you guys, and tune in next week where we're gonna finish up the Lives of Saints.
Woohoo!
Yes. So
Another book off the list.
Yep. So we're gonna be doing Sankt Gerazim? I'm not sure. But then we get Sankta Alina. Then we also have the Starless Saint, and then the Saint of the Book. So
We have some big ones.
yes, we do. So pretty much just finish the book if
Yay.
you're reading along with it. And this is really cool. This is where, as I said, this is the climactic part of the book. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be fun. So yes. Well, you guys be good. We will see you all next week. Long live the Grishaverse.
We're at the end of the hour, so my voice is a little husky. It was.
No mourners.
No funerals.
This has been GrishaCast. Connect with us on the web at GrishaCast.com. Send an email to info@GrishaCast.com.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok at GrishaCast.
Woo! And thank you so much to our amazing staff, Chris, Alex, Sid, Michelle, and Chloe!
Yay!